Okay, welcome guys to another edition of the Droplets. It's a new, brand new edition, and I'm glad to have every one of us here. I've been having some issues with technicalities, and I've been trying to just fix these technical difficulties that all this technology stuff are just, giving to me. But then, let's just continue. At some time, you may feel that my video is freezing, but we will just continue. Again, I want to welcome you to this um, comeback edition of the Droplets, and I pray that tonight we are going to get something out of what we are going to talk about tonight. I hope you've been keeping safe. I hope you've been enjoying your, you know, lazing out at home. Some of us are not going to work. Some of us are working from home, and all that. But most importantly, I want to believe that you have been keeping safe. Very important that you keep yourself safe and follow all that is required, to keep yourself safe. Now, before we go into what we have tonight, I want to welcome every one of you back to the Droplets. We are back and we are going to continue. We went on break before due to some reasons to try and fix some things up, okay? But we are back right now, and I believe that we're going to get better and better and better. This evening we're talking about a question. Should a married person have a close friend of an opposite sex? Now, if this topic is very interesting to you, if it sounds interesting to you, please stay tuned. But for now, let's just listen to this intro. And welcome back again. We are back again to Droplets. And of course, this evening, like I said, we are talking about should somebody who is married, have a close friend, like best friend of an opposite sex. Should you say that, is it okay? So let's say it this way. Is it okay to say that, oh, my best friend is an opposite sex? For example, can I say that my best friend is a female? Okay, is it okay? Is it allowed? And I've had a couple of people who have asked me these questions over and over and over again. But what I have always told them is this: that there's nothing wrong in you having an opposite sex as a close friend. In fact, one of the questions that I come across most: do you say bye-bye to all your male friends if you're a woman? Do you say bye-bye to all your female friends if you are a man? We're going to look at what the Bible encourages us to do, and what we must do to make sure that we don't find ourselves in a place where we do not want to find ourselves. This is very, very important. It's very important that we be aware of these things. Okay, so we will be looking at all these things and ensuring that we get what is really right out of it. Okay, that we get what is really right out of it. But the Bible doesn't really forbid anybody from having be it a male friend or a female friend. The Bible is not forbidding any of us from doing that, whether we are married or not. But you need to think about this. When you have a female, as a man, you have a female close friend as your friend, there are a couple of things that may occur. A couple of things may happen. You may begin to find out or begin to feel that your wife is not really giving you much attention as your friend. With our friends, we feel much freer. We feel much excited with them. We tend to be able to tell them most of the things that is bothering us. Okay, and that's why it's important that your partner, your wife or your husband, is your closest friend. it is important that we all take time to grow the friendship amongst ourselves as husband and wife. If you're not married yet, it is important that you know this, that you and the person you are getting married to must take time to grow friendship amongst yourself. You must be best friend of each other. Don't allow yourself to say that you have a best friend outside your relationship. Your partner should be your best friend. All right? Your partner should be your best friend. Now, is it wrong to actually have somebody that is not that is an opposite sex to be your best friend? Well, I don't see it as anything wrong. There's really nothing wrong with that. Actually, the Bible did not even say we shouldn't have opposite sex, as this is where problem comes, because our body is as a nature, move towards emotional needs. In other sense, I'm trying to say that our body responds to emotional needs most of the time. This person, for example, I'm going to use myself as an example. For me, if somebody is saying that, if I say that I am having a female as my closest friend and not my wife, there's tendency for me to discuss intimate things with my close friends. Even what happens mostly is we find out that most spouse end up having to tell their close friends things that they could not even tell their partner. In other words, they end up giving more attention, pouring more of their heart, opening more of their heart towards that close friend, towards that person they call a close friend. And this is really, really something that we need to be careful about, so that we don't find ourselves becoming someone that sees our partner as not relevant to us in our relationship. Now, most married people often fall into marital affairs outside marriage, and then you hear them saying to you that, I don't know how it happened, it just happened. Yes, it is true, it may just happen. But what happened is that they open their heart up to an opposite sex to become their close friend, and then as time goes on, emotions begin to grow among both of them. Emotions begin to grow. They started doing all sorts of things like that, and at the end of the day, we find out that both of them are now emotionally tied. Now, the danger in having an opposite sex as a close friend when you are married, even when you're in a relationship, you need to be very careful as well. The danger is that you may not be able to control the emotion of that other person, and in most times also you may not be able to control your own emotions. And then you find out that you are already becoming so much emotionally attached to this other individual. You find out that you are talking to that individual more than you talk to your wife or your husband. You find out that you are laughing more with that individual than you laugh with your own partner or with your spouse. The moment you start seeing these things, you need to run away. Otherwise, you fall into adultery, which is not what you want in the first place. The Bible has encouraged us, that, like it said in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 22. It says, so flee youthful passion, all right, and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace, along with those who called on the Lord from a pure heart. This is what it says there. It says flee, run away from it. In other words, it is not something you try to control. You don't try to fight it. You run away from such temptations. Whatever is going to cause you to be unfaithful in your relationship or in your marriage, you're expected to run away from it. You're expected to, just run away. Even in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, flee from sexual immorality. Flee means you should run. It means you should run. So when you try to control the temptation, because there's always that temptation, there's always the temptation, and You don't want to fall into it. You don't want to get yourself into that kind of temptation at all. It is not something that is going to pay you in your relationship. It's going to cause shame. It's going to cause you to sin against God. It's going to cause you to be somebody that is back, is turned against God. And that is why you must run away from it. Now you may be asking yourself that, okay, should we then not have an opposite sex as a close friend? This is the answer I'm going to give to you. You could have them as friends, but not as close friends, not as best friends, not as people that you then begin to discuss intimate things with. You begin to discuss your family problems, the things you're having, the issues you're having at home with them, and all that. You should begin to do things in a way that you and your partner are in everything together. For example, if you're going to have, if you have a close friend, well, which is fine, always ensure that you and your partner, whenever you're going to visit that close friend, you and your partner are going together. So instead of you having a single date with that your close friend, you can double date. And what do I mean by double date? I'm talking about you and your partner, and also your close friend and his or her partner as well, coming together to have lunch, to have dinner, and all that. In that way, there is not going to be, higher probability of chances for you to become emotionally entangled with this person. What I would warn about is, don't create an atmosphere, or don't create circumstances that will get you emotionally attached to this opposite sex. You may like somebody to be your friend, which is fine, but be careful. Let there be boundaries so that it doesn't then affect your own marriage or your relationship. This is very important that we take note of it. You understand? Very, very important that you take note of this thing. And I bet you, don't try to fight temptation. Flee from it. The Bible says, flee all appearances of evil. You expect to flee. You don't try to fight it. You don't try to challenge it or something. You don't say, okay, that's temptation over there. You're going in there to try and overcome it. You run away from it. That's what the Bible says. It says, flee all appearances of evil. The Bible it then went further to say that if at all you find yourself in that temptation, know that such a temptation is not as such that you cannot overcome. So, which means that if you find yourself in a situation where you are becoming emotionally attached to somebody who is not your wife or who is not your partner, then you need to know that you have the capability. God has given you the enablement to be able to say no to such things, to be able to say, I'm not interested in this. That way you are able to overcome. As much as the Spirit of God helps you to overcome these sexual temptations, you need to play your part by running away, and also believing that if at all you find yourself in such temptations, you are able to overcome it. Don't think that, oh, it's emotional temptation, I cannot overcome it, it's natural to human being. No, you are able to overcome it. That's what it is. But the best thing is for you to do what? Run away from it. Don't even allow it to happen at all. So should you have an opposite sex as your close friend, it is fine. There's no problem with that. However, boundaries should be, well written out. You should follow the right principles. Don't start discussing emotional things that will get both of you too emotionally involved together. No, you don't even start reporting your partner to that person or telling that person about your partner and all that. You find out that so many people begin to tell their friends about the weaknesses of their partner, and then what do you expect from such a friend? They will probably tell you things that will make you to turn your back more. So what am I saying here? If you can avoid it, please avoid it. But if you can't, well, make sure the principles are there, make sure your boundaries are there, and make sure you flee any appearances of evil. You may not have that intention to be emotionally involved with that person, but you don't know the person's mind. The person may have that intention to be emotionally involved with you. So it's important that you rather avoid it than for you to try to overcome it when it happens. I'm going to check if I have any comments that we can talk about here. Okay, I have somebody here. Please, if you are listening to me, you can still put in your comments, and I'm going to look at it. Even if you if you have questions, please put it up and then we'll talk about it together. I'm going to try to answer your question. Now, Timothy here says that I can relate with what happened in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve in Genesis 3:1. So, you see, there are occasions like that will happen. I have so many female friends, but I ensure that I don't get emotionally attached to them. And if there's anyone that I feel I'm beginning to get emotionally attached to, I shift back. I step backward. I take a reverse motion. I take a reverse motion and tell myself this is what it should be, and that is what I'm going to try, and I'm sure that that is what it is. Many people may not be able to control themselves, and they fall into such temptations or such situations where they find themselves having the extra mile with somebody they are not married to. Guys, it is important that you flee from such things. Before you get married, please understand this. These are kind of things that can help your marriage to grow well. Keep friendship. I'm not saying you should not keep friendship. Be it a man or a woman, you can keep friendship with the opposite sex. But however, ensure that you are able to control the boundaries between both of you. It is very important that you control the boundaries between both of you, and ensure that whatever relationship you are having with that person does not get your partner offended. Doesn't get your partner offended. I'm going to check on WhatsApp as well in case I have any questions coming up there. Okay. All right. Now, somebody said here on what I said, couples should stay away from controversies, and that is the truth. Whatsoever will cause any argument, whatsoever will cause any rift at all, stay away from it. And that's what the Bible advises. Run away from iniquity, run away from every appearances of evil. It is important that you run away from it. Very, very important that you run away from it. You get? And I pray that God is going to help you, in all that you do to run away from this thing. Okay? You can keep friends, opposite sex friends, but don't keep them as close friends. It is not always advisable. And also always check if whatever way you are having friends with, whatever friendship you are having with anybody, if it's causing a rift in your relationship, you need to do something about it. I think I have a comment here as well from Kemi Daniel. He said, what if the opposite sex that is discussing, what if it's the opposite sex that is discussing his partner in form of asking for counsel, and in the process he starts having interest in the other friend but still needs advice? Listen to this very well. If that person is asking for counsel, fine, you can give counsel. But the moment you begin to see that that person is making advances towards you, flee. Flee, because that is already an appearance of evil. I'm not the one saying it. The Bible has said it. It says, flee all appearance of evil. There is no two way about it. The person is already crossing the boundary, and you have seen it that the person is crossing the boundary, then you should run away. Take the reverse motion. Take the reverse step and move away from that person, because the person has crossed the boundary. Counseling the person is not a problem, but once that person begins to make advances towards you, whatever counsel you are even giving the person will no longer be valid, because his attention or her attention is now on something else. So it is better you flee. That is an appearance of evil. Please flee. Please flee. You can keep coming with your questions, and I'm going to keep answering them. Said, okay, so I also feel that even we as individuals who would appear as friends to married people, we also should be able to set boundaries. Once my close friend of opposite sex is married, I should ensure, yes, I should ensure that I don't talk or call him at ungodly hours and don't do things suggestive of ungodly things. Now, she's very right. That's Kemi saying that there. Very, very right. Even if you are the one that is not married, or you are married to someone else, and your close friend is somebody else who is married or not married, the moment you start seeing that things are going beyond the boundaries, things are becoming an appearance of evil, please, I beg you to please make the correction by taking the reverse motion. Move backward. Create the distance between you and that person. Don't keep calling the person no. Like she said, don't call people in an ungodly hours. It is not right. It is not right at all. All right? It is not right at all. So, I don't know if I have any more questions from anybody. Please, if you have questions, just put it up. I'm going to try to answer that question. Okay? So, please, guys, we've heard what we have to say this evening. Having close friends, opposite sex, when you're married, it's not a problem. All right? But when that friendship is becoming, or is going beyond boundaries, is now becoming appearance of evil, please flee. Flee for your life. Flee for the life of your marriage. Flee for the life of your relationship. Flee for the life of your home. And ensure that you keep your home and marriage safe and sweet. An advice is this: ensure that you work on your friendship between you and your partner. It's a separate relationship. Relating as husband and wife is different from relating as friends. But both must be interwoven in your relationship, in your marriage. Ensure you develop this friendship. Ensure you develop it. It is very, very, very important. Very, very important. You understand? And I pray that God is going to help you to do the right thing when the time comes. Because you're not married, God will help you to do the right thing. If you're married, God will also help you to do the right thing. So, since I don't have any more questions coming through, excuse me, I'm going to draw the curtain here. We'll be having another episode next week by the grace of God. And I pray I won't have so many technical glitches. You know, sometimes all these electronics can just start giving you problems. But then we will still come up live. Now, next week, I'm planning to do something different from what we've been doing. I'm planning to bring somebody on board who is going to be also featuring on this show. So please stay tuned. It's going to be an interesting discussion. So it's not going to be only my face you'll be seeing. By the grace of God, you'll be seeing someone else's face. We'll be having that discussion. Then you can ask questions even through the chat window. You can ask your questions, and then we all up our minds together. Please endeavor to like this video, okay? And also, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please just click on the subscribe button below on the screen right there, the red subscribe button. Please click on it and be subscribed to my channel. Till I come your way again next week, please stay in love with your partner and keep peace in your home, which is very, very important. I'll see you again next week. Thank you very much.